Good morning, everyone. Anthony Thorpe making another insert. It's 10:51 a.m. April. April 8th, 2023. It's a really nice day. It's a nice little breeze, not too loud, so hopefully the speaker won't pick it up too much. I'm gonna try to get through this, hopefully without any kind of interference. All right, so good morning again, and we are going to stick to our topic of corruption and the implications that it has for us as Jamaicans and people globally, because corruption is something that's happening all over the world. But for some reason, Jamaica seems to be on the top tier of corruption. I want to address pretty much a concern. One of my really good friends and partners, we were talking last night, and I said, you know what, I've gotten the impression that a lot of people, they hear the information about the mortgages and the corruption and the ruling of the appeals court and what it really means for them personally, or for somebody they know that owns a home that they purchased from a real estate developer, and pretty much the implication it has for the entire economy and the country. And she happened to mention that she had an investment property in Jamaica that has a mortgage on it, and she did purchase it from a developer. So I said, you know what would be a good thing to do is, as a part of the persons who have been affected negatively by the ruling of the appeals court and the corruption in general that we've experienced in the court. It would be good if you could put yourself out there and show people that you're going to take measures to enforce the ruling of the appeals court and take advantage of the financial benefits that would have accrued to her because of the ruling. And the benefits that would have accrued to her, like anybody else who has a mortgage, is that if you calculate the amount of mortgage payments you have made and have left before you complete paying off that note, I'm pretty sure it's a significant amount, and typically it works out to be more than 4 times what you paid for the property, the principal, and that's depending on the interest rate, of course. So if you got it from a commercial lender or bank, then your rates would be probably higher than what you'd be paying at the NHT. Some people do a combination mortgage where they get some from NHT and some from a lender, commercial bank or mortgage banking firm that will, amalgamate all the loans and put them together so that you could cover the principal amount that you need to pay for that property. However, if you just look at the amount of money you'd be paying out over time, because of this ruling, you'd be saving a lot of money, in short. And if you want an easy way to calculate the payments, the amortization of your mortgage, meaning the amount of money that's owed or you'll be paying for the mortgage, just go online and pull up any one of those mortgage sites, or go and search Google for a calculator for mortgages, and just put in your numbers, put in your principal, put in the time, the rate, and just click that button, and it will show you what your payments over time would be. And some of them are pretty detailed, and they break it down so you could follow it and understand it. So you don't need an accountant to do the calculations. Fortunately for us, technology and the internet and a lot of advanced thinkers have put things in place that ordinary people can go in and get the information they need. So you need to look at how much money you're actually losing by not taking advantage of this ruling by the court. And going back to my friend and partner, and I found out she was almost terrified at the thought of getting in touch with her bank and saying, I'm going to withhold my mortgage payments or my payments on the note until you sort out this thing with the ruling with the courts and the government and the real estate board. And I'd put my funds in an escrow account, possibly with another bank, of course, because your bank would try to seize your accounts. They'll try to do anything. And just open an account, as I had recommended before, at possibly a credit union, a strong credit union. So you not only accrue interest, but you also accrue the benefits of being able to access 2 or 3 times the amount you have in that account. So again, looking for all the advantages you can gain out of this situation. But as I said, she was terrified at the thought of taking those actions. And at first I was a little, I don't understand it. But then I started to reflect that, it's a scary thing when you don't understand or you don't know. And, a lot of people feel they don't have any control, because one of the things she said to me was, oh, but the bank will stop her from taking her money out. At first, that kind of stumped me, because no bank can stop you from pulling your money out of your account unless you have it against a guaranteed loan or guaranteed credit card, where they tell you have to put your money in there and lock it in there, and then they'll lend you money to use, which is one of the things I've said in the past is a foolish idea in the first place. Why would you put your money in the bank, then go borrow from the bank when the bank has your money locked up, and you can borrow more than you have in your account? So in essence, what you're really doing is just paying the bank interest on your own money, and they can't get any loss because you're borrowing your own money. So why not just borrow your own money? That said, and the foolish thought behind it is that when you borrow the bank's money, your money is not being disturbed. No, you're paying a loan and an interest on your own money. You're not paying money on the bank's money. So wake up and come to the realization that you're screwing yourself financially when you do make those kinds of decisions. And this is part of the con job that financial institutions put on people. And even some investment advisors tell the people, oh, get a guaranteed loan on your account, and the fact is you're only borrowing your own money and paying out. So you're actually giving away your money to an institution. And then they have a lot of nerve of charging you service charges on your own loan that you borrowed your own money. So you think about it and realize that one cocoa full basket, every dime you waste is a dime that you'll have less to spend on yourself and improve the quality of your life. So every penny you spend, every dime, every dollar you give away to somebody, that's what you're losing in terms of what you could be using to empower yourself. And those dollars add up over time. I had a friend, he was from Alabama, and when he moved to New York, he got a job, right? And every day he got home, he took 25 cents that he earned, 25 cents, nothing big, and dropped it in a jar. And when it got to a certain amount, he would put it in a bank, then he would put it in a CD account. And at the end of his retirement, when he retired, he was about 65. The guy had a couple $1 million just doing that. So you can see the power of every dime, every penny, every cent, the value of it. And what that means is you mightn't recognize the amount that you'll be accruing over time when you look at it, but when you look at the compound interest that's accrued over time, it could be significant. So when you keep giving away your money to financial institutions who are charging you interest on your own money, then they're charging you service charges and all kind of charges on your own money when you borrow from yourself, then I think that's really foolish. And feel bad. I want you to really feel bad for doing those foolish things. It makes no sense. It's like I saw another friend of mine. She bought some investment, I think it was in NCB. And just before the investment matured, NCB sent out a notice that they were buying back the loan, and they were buying it before the expiration date, and at a discounted amount. So if you wanted to cash out, and I think the amount they were offering was like 80-something% to the dollar, and it was only a couple months or a year before the account would be matured and NCB would have to pay them. And when I checked her account and what she had there, she actually figured she was getting a benefit by cashing in early, and she only get 85% on the dollar, and then she roll it over into another investment with the same institution. You can see the logic there, because at that point she should have earned 25% more on her money that would have been paid by the bank, and instead of doing that, she gave away 25%. 25% of her own money. So she actually lost, and then she rolled it over into another investment with the same institution, I guess on the same principle and strategy. So think about what you're doing before you do it and make it make sense. When people are coming to you to offer you any kind of investment options, the catch is that they're always going to make more than you. And the loopholes that they have in there, it's not beneficial to you, it's beneficial to them. So first of all, yeah, you can make money, but you have to be smart. Don't go about giving away your resources. And going back now to my friend, who I said, you know what, it would be a good thing for you to put your documents together and send it to your bank that's holding your mortgage on your property, and at least let them know. You'll be testing the waters and putting them on alert and notice. So you go fix your business before you keep taking my money, which the court said you're taking my money illegally. And she was terrified. And even when I sat there and showed her that all you need to do, and please everybody listen now, if you have a friend or a relative or you have a mortgage with one of these institutions in Jamaica, what you want to do is a simple thing, and it's not illegal. It puts you under no threat. Draft a letter. Pretty sure you know how to do a letter, and don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be in this formal structure. Those days are over. Put the address of the person you're addressing it to, or the company at the top of the thing. Put your address either to the bottom, to the side, wherever you want to put it. Date it, and put attention regarding my mortgage payments. And then you go to the traditional dear sir, madam, or hello, whichever you want to write it. The old traditional way of writing letters are done. What a letter or a document like that does is just give information that you want to pass on quickly, and do up the document and simply say to the institution, attention, I have discovered or learned from a ruling from the Appeals Court of Jamaica and the Supreme Court of Jamaica that my mortgage that I gave to you and the note that you gave to me in exchange for that mortgage was derived through an illegal arrangement that I had made with the contractor, and so the entire arrangement and all agreements coming out of that, according to the ruling of the Appeals Court and the Supreme Court, were illegal agreements, and on illegal agreements the court says they are unenforceable. So I would like for the institution, or for the bank, or for you, whichever bank, name the bank, to clarify the situation. I have attached a copy of the judgment, and also a notice, which is I'm also including in this letter, that effective immediately I will be withholding my mortgage payments or my payments on my note, and placing it in an escrow account at an independent institution until this matter is resolved. Upon resolution, we will determine how to proceed with the payments based on the payments. If the courts have come out and said then our mortgages are still due and the ruling was out of order, then we will continue our mortgage payments. If not, we'll be looking at additional measures to secure payments that we made to you in the past, which based on the ruling were collected illegally, and therefore we'd be seeking a refund. It's generally like that. And date it and sign it And if you want to get it certified, also do that. Yeah, it has more power when you certify it. So get a JP to certify it or witness your signature. And then send it. For one, you're telling the bank they need to go clarify this. Two, you're not telling them you're not making your payments. You're telling them if the payments are legitimate and they can provide evidence that the payments are not illegal payments based on the ruling of the court, then you'll have your money in an account that you will pick up your payments at that point. But for now, the bank needs to clarify it. And I think that's reasonable. So you don't need to get an expensive attorney. You don't need to get anybody there. Ask them to clarify and then get back to you on the matter. And so you're asking them to go get the information, get back to you, and tell you if this ruling is correct. And if you don't have the resources to go, because the judgment is 25 or 29 pages, it would be helpful if you could do the print and attach it to your document. But if you can't, just put the judgment, Court of Appeal, number 64 of 2018, Carif Limited versus Valerie and King, and refer to it, and so they can go and look it up. But this way, you're testing the waters. If it works out for you, then you've made yourself a ton of money. You've saved a ton of money that goes towards your retirement. If it works out for the bank, then you pick up the payment. No love lost. This is business. I'm pretty sure if you know somebody's collecting money from you illegally or illegitimately and you point it out, then you expect to get your money back or refund. And even if they play out and they start coming with all kind of arguments why they're not going to refund any money, that's fine. You've given them notice as a foundation to say, all right, you're in this relationship illegally, you're collecting money illegally, so you have to go explain all of that to me, and then you're laying a groundwork or that foundation for legal action later, which might be a class action lawsuit with other people who are in a similar position, which means you have the additional responsibility of also identifying other people that may have a mortgage with not necessarily the same developer you purchased from, and therefore you could come together and see what the banks do as a collective, and you have a number of people doing that, then there's strength in numbers. Now, she also said, well, she knows for a fact that the developer that built her townhouse was now deceased, and if that wouldn't have an effect on the banks and the refund or collecting the money because he's no longer here. In the first place, it doesn't matter if the developer is dead or not. What the ruling is saying is that the original arrangement, when this developer didn't have a real estate dealer's license, is an illegal one. And everything that comes out of that arrangement is illegal, and therefore it would have no effect on her position of being in an illegal relationship with her bank or illegitimate relationship with her bank. And I use legal because you can be illegitimate and still there are no consequences to your action. But if it's legal, it means that you're entitled to certain protective rights under the law, and therefore you could protect yourself. And the banks and financial institution or investment houses will leap much higher if they know you're talking about legalities, what's legal, what isn't, what they must prove, what they can disprove. So they must disprove the fact that the arrangements they made is not an illegal one, and they must prove it by saying the original agreement wasn't legal or was legal, and that means they'd have to now produce a document saying the real estate developer did have a real estate a real estate dealer's license. Now you could preempt all of that and go to the real estate board's website and real estate board generally, and request from them a copy of the information on this developer, If the developer is dead, I don't think it should matter. The real estate board should have a record of these occurrences and any information on that developer or his successor developer. It really does matter. Find out if they did have a real estate dealer's license. If they didn't, could I get a copy of the registration of the developer, and stick it in that letter and say Exhibit A, the judgment from the court. Exhibit B, real estate dealer's license if there is one. A real estate registration of the developer, is there one? And if there is none, then just state it. We have not been able to locate any real estate dealer's license for this developer that we acquired the property from. And put it, test the waters. You have nothing to lose. How long is it going to take you to type up a letter like that? So only type it up, you get it certified, you scan it if you don't want to use snail mail, which is a post office, and then email it to them. Everybody has an email account now. Find out who you must address it to. Call the bank, find out who are the persons you need to send this to regarding your mortgage or your account with the bank, and direct it to them. And also in there at the bottom, CC, and put CC must be shared with the board of directors, so that you don't have to go find out each of these board of directors and send it to them. Just put CC. You stipulate this document must be shared with the board of directors of the institution. That way anything comes up, they have that responsibility now. You don't. And if they don't give it when it comes up to any kind of discussions or negotiations, that becomes a powerful tool in your bag of things you need to work with or have to work with against these people, or accruing your benefits or getting your finances in order so that you benefit. And the objective of you working, holding a job and all of that out there is to build your resources. And building your resources simply means, again, taking advantage of everything you can, and so that you don't take any unnecessary hits against the economy when at the end of the day just kind of distracted a little, the wind is blowing and I have some stuff out here and I don't want these messy good for nothing flies to get to my coffee, so I'm just covering the straw. So give me a quick second. I don't want to be sucking on anything with no fly thing, you understand that? Alright, so that should do it. Alright, yeah. So I said to her, going back to my friend and partner, you have nothing to worry about or be fearful. Just send a letter and see what happens. Nobody has anything to lose by simply sending information if it's going to be beneficial to you. And so I'm sending the same message to everybody that's listening this, that reach out to people you know and inform them of what's going on. Direct them to these videos, share it so that they can understand. And if they don't understand, as I said, put it in the comment section and ask for clarity. I'll clarify as best I can so that people can go and take advantage of this moment. Now I'm adamant about pushing on this as part of the agenda, because it does a number of things. One, it exposes the corruption that's in our courts. It exposes the fact that we don't have people sophisticated enough to be making these decisions in the court, and you can't just pick up an attorney or somebody to become a judge and they have no knowledge base or experience in making decisions about contracts. How can somebody be talking about contracts and agreements and ruling on those things when they have no foundation in those areas of law? And contract law is a specialist area for attorneys, because they have to go in, they have to know how to write the contracts, protect people, or look out for the liabilities that could accrue. How many of these judges have any background in contract law? How many contract law issues they're dealing with in the courts? I can guarantee it's minimal, if at all, very minuscule. So they don't have any experience in there. So they shouldn't be in there making decisions about contracts when it comes to people's business. And even interpretative document. How you don't know how to analyze or make deductions logically, how you're making decisions about things that affect not only people's lives but the entire country. And it goes back to what I said in previous videos. These judges need to be trained. They need to go to special training before they are put on the bench. You don't just pick up an attorney, give him a couple of days orientation and throw him on the bench, because he's going to come or she's going to come with her old bad habits, because that's what they used to do as judges in the law tribunal or attorneys. These are the same people that have bad habits that are sitting on benches now as judges, and so they figure they get there, they can do the same thing. They can just arbitrarily do things to people and there are no consequences, because that's what they've been led to believe. And I want to change the whole scenario. The game plan has to change. We have to hold judges accountable. They are just too important to our way of life and the stability of our country, our countries around the world. We can't just have people going in, making random, arbitrary, and capricious decisions that have no real value other than destroying civilized society. We have a democracy, but we can't be so foolish to think everybody that we employ is going to do the right thing. We need to train them, and without the training, don't put them on the bench. That's the first thing. And then this whole thing of the clan style living that they practice in the courts. They're there to protect each other, or they're there to protect the general public. I think it's the latter. And that's not what's been happening. You have judges going there, and if you're critical of a judge, then the others take offense. You shouldn't be criticizing them. I guess they're talking to the wrong person. And a judge should be able to absorb criticism and do better. If they're not doing the right thing and somebody points out that you're not doing the right thing, as a judge who are telling people how they should behave and not behave and what law they're supposed to practice and all of that, then they're the ones that should be able to be as flexible in adjusting their behavior patterns. And if they make a wrong decision, just say, I'm wrong. Don't take this position like a lot of American prosecutors in the system. They may convict somebody wrongly, deliberately or by accident, and when it's discovered, instead of simply say, I made a mistake, the vast majority of them buckle down and will keep people in prison, even on death row when they know they were wrong. And that makes no sense, but that's what happens. You have these judges protecting attorneys, and attorneys, when they become judges, protecting other judges and attorneys because they feel that they are against the people when they should be for the people. And so I am advocating that a part of the reform of the judicial process is to have these judges get trained and certified before they go as judges. Now, a general practitioner as a doctor, don't just leave from being a general practitioner and become a surgeon. They have to go back and be trained. Or if they want to be operating in a specific area, they have to be trained. So why don't we have that for judges who make such important decisions? We pick up a bunch of judges or lawyers and make them judges, and these lawyers have never done any kind of coursework or serious litigation in terms of contracts. And even if they did, it should be a part of a qualifying course for judges. Judges must be able to understand contracts and not go in there with, which is what I've experienced with a lot of these judges that I've been in front of. They go in there with their own sentiment and feeling. When it comes to business and contracts and law, you left your feelings at the door. You don't have no place in there coming in about, me believe that, or I believe her, or I believe that. Because that is what a couple of them have said. Oh, they believe this guy or they believe this person. When the facts in front of the judge is saying something contrary. You have to go according to the facts, the law, and the evidence. So why are we having this conversation? Because we haven't trained these people that we have making these major decisions that affect not only the individual, but every person within the country. Because when you rule for one person about a particular matter, these are matters that other judges and lawyers bring to court and say, oh, it was ruled on and here. So it's not impacting just this particular situation, it's impacting the entire nation and how it functions and operates within a sphere of legalities and civilized behavior. So if you have judges who lack sophistication in matters of law, economics, history, socialization, medicine, then you can't be there making decisions about those areas. And I'll remind you, this judge in this particular matter with Valerie King is going to say Mrs. King was confused, and I'll remind you that that's a medical decision. That's a medical analogy. And did this judge or any of them have any background in medicine to have drawn that conclusion? And even if they did, have they been practicing to the point where you can say they are expert witnesses in these areas? No. So if they weren't and if they aren't, why do we have them making these decisions that are binding on people's lives? So going back to my partner and her fear of getting to the bank, as I said, she said, well, if she did it, the bank would stop her from taking her money out. It's your money. No bank can stop you from taking your money out. Now, I know some of them have some policy that, oh, you can't draw out all your money at one point. Or you can't pay off a mortgage or a loan in one go. They do that because they want to keep you paying off that loan over time, so they make the interest. And of course, that's how they make their money, on the interest payments. But a simple way around that is when you're going to close that account, don't tell them you're closing the account. Just go in there and ask them for a check for all the money minus $2 or $1. So your account isn't closed, there's money on your account. You get your manager's check with your cash and you move with it. Then they can play around with that account, but next time you go back, you tell them you're closing the account, you want your dollar. So you're not closing it on the same day. Same thing with paying off a loan. I have done this. I'll go in and tell me that nonsense. I'll go in and I pay up 99% of the loan and leave a balance. Then a couple of weeks after, I just go in and close out the whole thing. But it means you're protecting yourself because you're saving money. And remember, I started out saying every decision you make in saving money is a decision that works for you in the long and the short run to your development. So think about everything you do. They tell you you can't do it, find a way around it legally. And this is one way. So my friend, I said, if you're worried about them telling you that or you can't pull your money out, which I believe is illegal, is your money, what you do, you simply go and draw out most of your money, get a manager's check, go deposit that in another institution that you're not connected with, and they don't hold a lot of mortgages. Because one of the problems with what this ruling is that if persons start exercising the benefit that this ruling conveyed to them, it means a lot of people are going to now stop paying that note to this particular institution. And if it's one of these bigger institutions that issue or hold a lot of notes and you gave them a mortgage, it means chances are they're going to be in financial problems. And you don't want to have your money in there in that regard anyway. So even if you're scared, protecting your interests is going in and moving your money to another institution. Find again a strong credit union. Put your money in there because credit unions, believe it or not, are less risky than these commercial banks that do loans. They are less risky. So, in my opinion, so what you do, you put your money over there, build a credit union, protect yourself, get your money out of those institutions because it has a number of effects. One, when it gets out and people understand what's going on and they start protecting their money by moving it, means these institutions will now have to reconsider what they are going to be and how they're going to be doing it in handling these accounts. They become weak, people make a run on the banks, you lose. You move your money, you're securing it, you're protecting it, and you have the option of negotiating with those persons. So again, don't be scared of making those moves. It's to protect your interests. The other effect it has now is that it puts the bank in a position where they have to negotiate with government on settling the outstanding balance they owe to everybody. So by you doing this, you're also putting the bank in a position and forcing them to go negotiate and make sure that they protect their interests by negotiating with the government to work out those payments so that you don't occur or incur those losses. So it's not a scary thing to do, and I wouldn't be scared of doing it. In fact, you're more protected in doing it. Because what if everybody else makes a run on that institution and you didn't? And you have a couple $1 million in there and you're only paying out 1.2, you would have taken a major hit. So again, think about it, work on your strategy, and understand it's to your advantage to protect your interests, and in so doing it, protecting everybody else. That said, so I've encouraged my partner and my friend to do that. I don't know if she's going to take advantage of it or do it, but frankly, if she doesn't, she could be the one that's going to take a major loss on everything. All right, so understand everything I'm saying makes sense. There's nothing illegit about it. So go ahead, take care of it, and make sure you protect your interests, which is the most important thing here. All right? So thank you. We'll be speaking later. I'm going to be addressing the other matters I told you about, the strategies, and so that you understand, protect your interests. So have a good one. It was great talking to you, and looking forward to future communications. Bye.